this episode of the Cinema Goodness Podcast.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I knew you was cursing, man, because I was losing it in there. I was like, y'all cannot be serious, bro. Like, y'all cannot end this movie like this. I was staying till the credits was going. like something else is coming, bro. And nothing came. I was like,
not even a post-credit scene. So
nothing, bro.
Nothing.
What's going on, family? It's Kahim and JP back with another episode. How you doing today, JP?
Man, I'm good. I'm excited about Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse and our podcast this week. It's going to be a good one.
Very excited for this episode. We're going to be reacting to Hijack trailer starring Idris Elba, and we're going to be giving a brief update to the writer's strike that's been going on. Also going to be reviewing Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. I'm so excited for that film. And we're going to wrap things up with our rewatch of the week, Remember the Titans. Excited episode for the day. So sit back, relax, grab some popcorn. Let's get into cinema good. So we're going to kick things off with this trailer reaction of Hijack, man. Hopefully, I haven't seen it. So
me neither. And apparently it's a series. It's a series and it's going to be on Apple Plus.
Yeah.
When is it coming out?
Coming out June 28th.
June 28th.
Yeah, man, Apple TV. So let's get into it, man.
Would any remaining passengers for flight KA29 please make their way to gate B15?
Good morning, everyone. This is Captain Robin Allen speaking. Flight time today is 6 hours, 54 minutes.
Operation has commenced.
Phones, tablets.
Plane is under control.
You need to see this.
Plane did, of course.
Someone is calling for help.
Got family? Loved ones?
We got one job to do right now, just get through to them.
I got a message from the plane.
Dad says incident on board.
What exactly does your dad do for a living?
It's difficult to explain.
Sam's the best at handling it.
Handling what?
The negotiation.
There are 200 people on this flight. If they try something, and then this plane goes down, I don't get home to my family. Let me make you an offer.
I've been handed demands.
It's all going wrong in the first hour. Imagine the next 6. We need to get a message to the whole plane. We just need to be ready. There's other stuff going down.
5 passengers on that plane do not exist.
It's a network running all across Europe.
So then we're an incoming missile. It's either us or them. And I can tell you, it's not going to be us.
Man, that looks good.
It does.
Idris, you must redeem yourself.
Yeah, right.
That's all I'm saying. If you watched our previous episodes, you know what we're talking about. If you know, you know. We believe in you, man.
Yeah, it looks good, man. I get a little bit of what's that movie? I didn't even see that movie with Liam Neeson on a plane. It was kind of like that. I'm kind of getting that feel, you know.
Exactly.
But it looks good, man. I'm excited. Like, it's interesting watching movies where they take a plane hostage. You know what I'm saying? Because it's so much. It's only so much space. Like, it's like real tense. You up in the air. You can't do too much because you feel like the plane might crash. So it's real delicate situations that they be going through, man. So it's always interesting watching those type of films, man. I'm excited. I'm trying to figure out how they gonna stretch that out over. How many, like 7 episodes?
6 or 7, yeah. I believe it's 7.
Yeah, man. It's like the counter was like 5 hours to land or something to destination. So I'm trying to figure out how they're gonna stretch that out. That's gonna be interesting.
You know, the thing that they can do, even though this is a plane hijack movie, I'm sure they're gonna give us background. We're gonna see what's happening on the ground. We're gonna see how these folks came to be. whoever the hijackers are, because it sounds like they are organized somehow, some sort of terrorists, I assume. And the trailer suggests that as well. So I think, a big portion of this will probably be, jumping into that as well. I think the thing that comes to my mind thinking about this is it makes me think of 9/11. Essentially, that was the crux of, that event, these planes being hijacked. So it just makes me think about that. That's the first thing that came to my mind as I was watching, how people fought back. Because when you're on one of those planes, they did fight back.
I'm excited for it, man. June 28th. I'm trying to watch. I don't have Apple Plus or Apple TV, so I'm going to have to figure out how I could actually watch that. Because I want to support Idris, man, because like you said, if you watched our previous episode, he's kind of disappointed with the other one that he did.
That last movie. So we're counting on Idris to come through strong, and I think this is probably his strong suit because it has kind of an espionage feel, and I think those are some of his strongest characters.
Yeah, I believe so. I agree with that. Yeah, man. So June 28th, Hijack, Apple TV. Looking forward to that.
Absolutely.
So if you remember, back in like May 2nd, I think it was, writers went on the strike. The WGA felt like the writers weren't getting their proper wages and all of that stuff. And, they went on strike. Last strike lasted like 100 days. This one is going on like 5 weeks or so, almost 5 weeks. The directors actually cut a deal, and I don't know how I feel about that, man. I kind of feel like, of course, they're different, I guess, fields or, things like that. But I feel like they should stand together, man. I feel like they should stand together with that. Like, an article I read said that one party feels like it's like a divide and conquer. Like, if you could get the directors on board, then the writers will be forced to come over. But my thing is, if you don't have, again, I said it before, I say it again, if you don't have anything on the page, you have nobody to direct. Like, you have nothing to direct. So you really should be fighting for the writers, man, and what they bring to the table.
And, I completely understand that. I think, the main question that I had when I was looking into this, because I've been watching how the writer's strike is impacting some current productions. So, my main question is this a positive? Is the Directors Guild of America, the DGA, they are essentially, they negotiated with the same people that the writers are striking against, which is the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers. The DGA's contract was set to expire June 30th, and they have set their deal. The question is this going to hurt the writers, or will this lay the groundwork for the writers to come to a deal? Because some of the concessions that they made are directly related to some of the things the writers are striking about. I definitely want the writers to stay in their strike. I'm hoping that this doesn't hurt them. The directors got their 5% wage increase for the first year, and they're going to get, successive wage increases each year, going out in this contract. But then they put in their agreement some of the consequences of the accident that happened on the set of Rust. So if you remember, the Alec Baldwin, they had live ammunition in the gun, and one of the producers was killed, another injured very severely when they were not supposed to have any live ammunition. So that's part of it, banning live ammunition on set. There is a part here that has to do with AI, and I think this is important. And the quote is, the agreement would also put into writing a clause about the use of artificial intelligence, stating AI, this is in quotes, AI is not a person, and that generative AI cannot replace the duties performed by members.
Right.
So this is in the writing of the director's agreement. And I feel like that's why I'm kind of, I don't know which way it's going to go. I think that this kind of does lay a little bit of the groundwork to help the writers, because that's some of what they want. They want to make sure that AI is not going to be used to replace the duties performed by members, but on the writer's side too. Okay, this is for the directors, but the writers also want that same concession. So I'm hoping that this is a benefit to them and that they continue to strike until they can get the agreement. If they had come to an agreement on these terms, they wouldn't be striking anymore, which tells me that they still want to be able to use AI. They still want to underpay, not provide those royalties on the streaming platforms, and then use those mini rooms. The mini rooms was a big part of it because that allows, and this is kind of related to the pandemic, but instead of having a full writing room where people can actually get in there as a beginning writer and learn the process and learn the skills, like the only way you can learn it is by being able to go in the room. These writing rooms are huge.
Right.
They go down to mini rooms. So they're only dependent on a small number of people. That cuts out all those people who would normally be able to get in there and learn. The other side of that is they wanted to pay people the same amount who are coming in new as folks who've been in the writing room for 20 years, and that ain't never gonna fly. So I'm with the writers. I want them to stick to their guns, because the best TV, like you say, is based on the foundation of good writing. I'm glad this AI part is in the director's agreement. That needs to go into the writer's agreement, because who wants an AI? I mean, I've read some of the scripts. I don't know if you've gone online and looked at some of what ChatGPT and the OpenAI, what they write, but essentially what they do is they aggregate, they pull information. So a lot of times they get details wrong.
Right.
So we'll get, for the most part, it can put together decent, writing, but there will be some details that only a human would be like, okay, I would never make that mistake, but the computer doesn't kind of know the difference. So I'm hoping that they stick to it. They're a month in, might as well go another month, because this is preserving this craft that we love.
Yeah. So I play with ChatGPT, man. I feel like as a creative, you gotta at least test it and see how it works, man. And like my thing is, it's not an end all be all type of situation. Like you have to have that human touch to it. Like you have to have somebody that actually combs through this information and filter out what the most important parts and like craft it to be original. Like I look at it as like when you write like a brainstorm type of thing. You know what I'm saying? It's like I'm trying to come up with an idea, and this is like the basis of my idea. What do you have? And I'll just put it into Chat GPT, and it gives you like, okay, a rough bone idea of what you give me. And then it's my job to take that and craft it to be something original. And then, you use it that way. But to try to replace a whole group of people or a whole department, I think that's just too much, man. You're hoping for too much, and it's all gonna sound the same if you do that. It's all gonna read the same. It's all gonna feel the same, and I think that's disrespecting the craft of creative writing. If you really trying to replace writers, I don't think that it's gonna be successful in that way. So yeah, man, I don't agree with. I mean, I don't know how I feel about having like AI like complement what's being written. That could be a conversation. But as far as like, because I feel like the whole thing is going to come down to money, right? As we move forward, and these production houses try to figure out how to cut costs and things like that, they're going to look at departments like writing and storyboarding and things like that, and try to figure out how they can cut that. So I really support that part of like putting that clause in there. Like, okay, you have AI, sure, you could use it, but don't try to replace a whole department with it, because then we're gonna have an issue. Then we're gonna have some problems to where you really like disrespecting the craft, So yeah, I agree with that, man. I was doing some research on Spider-Man 4, because I'm a big Spider-Man fan, and it's being pushed back. They're in talks about Spider-Man 4. Tom Holland was saying that he's in full support of holding off until the writer's strike is complete, and we really don't know how it's going to roll out. But Stranger Things, Abbott Elementary, all of these different shows that people are loving, you know, a big part of that is the writing, man. And I can't say it enough. Like, you have to have strong writing. And if you watch these shows and you don't get that, man, you just don't respect the craft. I'm a full supporter of this writer strike, man. I hope they do come to a conclusion about it because, you know, it's very important, man. Writers are very much needed in the space, bro. So
We stand with the WGA.
yeah, man. Definitely.
So I want to know, is it going to get bad enough that the actual actors get in? Because, you know, they have the largest, they may not be the most powerful, but they have one of the largest, in fact, they have the largest union in entertainment.
Yeah, the actors.
So
yeah.
if you have the actors get in, then that would really show solidarity and might bring the strike to a close and bring them to that negotiating table.
This whole AI thing is crazy, man, because it's looking like they're gonna they can use these programs to replace actors, man. My mind is blown about the advancement of technology in that way. You know what I mean? Like how we actually came from this whole pen to pad, then to the computer. Now the computer is writing stuff for us, and it's just like it's amazing. But we also got to be aware of the pitfalls of that, you know, the dangers of it all.
Let me say this. This is my last word on it. I mean, because I'm big into technology. I don't think there's anything that will ever truly be able to replace human ingenuity and human creativity. I think some of the most powerful things we've seen as far as things that people have created, whether it be art, science, what have you, it's because of the people involved. Some of it being, you know, individual works, some of it being collaborative works. The way we see, you know, these huge tentpole movies that we go and watch, it is a massive undertaking. I mean, you know, just the visual effects is thousands of people. So all of that going towards one goal. It's something about when people come together to do something. I don't think that technology will ever truly be able to replace it. It will be able to create a facsimile, a copy of it maybe, but I don't think it will ever truly be able to replace human creativity.
I agree. So it's time for Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse. Just saw it this weekend, and yeah, man, can't wait. I'm excited to talk about it. But let's go ahead and hit the synopsis and all of that stuff first before we get into it.
Okay. After reuniting with Gwen Stacy, Brooklyn's full-time friendly neighborhood Spider-Man is catapulted across the multiverse, where he encounters a team of spider people charged with protecting its very existence. However, when the heroes clash on how to handle a new threat, Miles finds himself pitted against the other spiders. He must soon redefine what it means to be a hero so he can save the people he loves most.
I'm gonna take a page from this rewatch of the week we about to talk about, but team? What team? Ain't no team. Ain't no team. Ain't no team, man. Oh, man, bro. So I didn't expect the story plot to be what it was, but like as I'm watching it, it made sense as to, you know, I don't want to jump too far ahead, so I'm gonna go back, right? It starts off with, you know, Gwen Stacy's perspective, right? Gwen Stacy, you know, she's telling her story because I don't think, did she tell her story in the first one? She kind of did, but she didn't talk about the whole, what happened with Peter. You know what I mean?
Correct. We didn't, you're right. We didn't get her full story. In fact, the whole first portion of the movie before we get to the title card is about Gwen Stacy.
Yeah. Which was nice.
I was like, am I in the right movie?
Right.
I thought it was about Miles Morales.
Right. Yeah, man. And like, I love the art style, man. It's just so great to watch, man. Like the different Spider-Man and how they look. It's like, keep in mind it's a Spider-Verse, right? So it's all different types of Spider-Man. You know what I mean? But how how they made them all look, bro. And you got to taste of that in the first one, but when you go to this one, it's just like a whole new level of Spider-Man, bro. You got dinosaurs and pigs and birds and all types of stuff, man. It was great. But jumping to Miles Morales' part, he's growing up, man, and he has to learn how to be Spider-Man on his own. And at first when it comes on, I was like, and they did a good job of this though. The villain, right? The main villain, when they put him in there, it was kind of like, oh, this guy, he's a joke, right? he's not gonna be nothing serious. And he turns up, bro, and I'm just like the power. I thought the power was cool from the beginning. I was like, oh, that's kind of dope. Like he could kind of like move in and out of space. Like that's kind of live. And well,
I'm gonna interrupt you. I'm gonna interrupt you. Which villain are you talking about? This movie has more than one.
It does, right? So I'm talking, but the main one is Spot. The Spot.
Okay.
Spot is the main villain, but they kind of camouflaged it. See, that's what I love about the movie so much, because it was like the trailers, everything about it, they kind of made it feel like Miguel was the Spider-Man 99 was the villain, right? And
he's definitely one of them.
Yeah, he's one of them, but he's not the main one. And I think that's why they get to the point to where they did towards the end of the movie, and we're gonna get there. But yeah, and I was like, man, like when they introduced him, and I think they did that on purpose to introduce him, like, oh, he's not really that big of a deal, but he's the reason. He's not only the reason for the catastrophe that happens during the film, but he's also responsible for Spider-Man, like Miles Morales. Without him, there is no Miles Morales, and that was the coldest part. Like he was like his whole point of being in the film was just like it connected the first one, but it pushed the second one to the third one. Like, and I was just like, man, how they wrote this, like. I was blown away, bro. I'm like, man, I was lost. I was lost at the beginning. Towards it, like at the beginning, it was like, okay, this guy is like, he's kind of creepy, whatever. He kind of dorky, but he turns up, man. I'm just like, bro, it's getting kind of crazy. But Miles is getting older. You got to figure out what he's going to do with his life. He's got to take control of his life, and this film was all about that, like him coming to his own for real. Like the first one was kind of like him dabbling into the Spider-Man in the Spider-Verse and all of that stuff. But this one is like he has his own choices to make. He has his own manhood to harness. And yeah, man, it was live. it was live, man. But I got some mixed feelings about it. I'm gonna get into.
Okay. So, this movie has me thinking, because who the villain is, and then your commentary makes me think about this. I will agree with you. Spot is the main villain, but this movie has kudos to the writers, because they have to me, who the villain is dependent upon your perspective.
Okay.
Because you have Spot over here, who he is not a threat at all in the beginning. We realize that he is an ascending threat throughout the movie, because of what has happened to him and the fact that he was so easily defeated by Miles Morales, by Spider-Man. But at the same time, we have Spider-Gwen's dad. He's a minor villain because he does not know that his daughter is Spider-Woman, Spider-Gwen. And he is saying that, she killed Peter Parker. In this world, Peter Parker made himself the Lizard.
Right.
Okay. And because of his failed experiment making himself the Lizard, he ends up dying. So Spider-Gwen's father is going hard after Spider-Man. So he's like a minor villain. and how he treats her. It just, to me, he's kind of villainous, and we don't really see their full recovery. We don't know where it's going to go and how he's going to land. But by the same token, you got Miguel, who was propped up as the villain from what we could tell. He absolutely is a villain. We don't know if he's not the main villain. I think that Spot is the main villain, but I have to say there's something in me that really feels like he's going to supplant him as the main villain eventually. But then the other side of this is Miles ends up getting sent to Earth 42. Miles is from Earth 1610.
Yeah.
So by an accident, by a mistake actually, he ends up going to Earth 42, which is where the spider came from that made him Spider-Man.
Right.
Now,
okay, so break that down though. So break that down so that people can understand how it happened though. You know what I'm saying?
So picture this 2021. Okay. Into the Spider-Verse happens. What causes Miles Morales to become Spider-Man is a collider experiment being run by the man who eventually becomes Spot. So he creates this connection in the multiverse because of his experiment.
Right.
That causes the spider number 42 to end up getting to Earth 1610 and biting Miles Morales, making him Spider-Man in Earth 1610. So the same experiment that creates Spot through this explosion creates this hole, which allows Spider number 42 to end up biting Miles Morales. So it ends up that Miles Morales is also kind of a villain because he is the anomaly. He actually has created all of this trouble. We come to find out in the movie because of him being from Earth 1610 and then being bitten by the spider from Earth 42. Well, the person who was supposed to become Spider-Man on Earth 42 could not have been bitten by the radioactive spider because it ended up biting Miles Morales on a different Earth. And that leaves that world with no Spider-Man.
No Spider-Man.
And that's why I say Miles Morales actually becomes a villain not only because he's the anomaly, he also becomes the Prowler on Earth 42.
Yeah.
So he becomes a villain in two different Earths.
That's crazy.
In this movie. Let me tell you, the writers were in the bag because the movie was so good. And I looked at because I know I was like, it's 2 hours and 20 minutes. I'm looking at my clock like, wait a minute. We haven't even got back to the villain yet. And I know we don't have enough time. But that's the crux of how this happened. It turns out that what created Miles Morales created the Spot, but the Spot could not beat Miles Morales. So he realizes is that if he goes to every different Earth using his spots, he can increase his power. So he's going back to the same company where he was doing his experiment in every different Earth, and he's increasing his power. So we have this looming threat in the background. In the beginning, it's laughs, it's jokes. Miles Morales beats him. You know, he's creating holes and flying here and punching you through this hole and kicking you through that hole. So it's really fun in the beginning of the movie. Yeah. But you realize that this anomaly thing that the spiders are talking about is serious business because they get into this thing called a canon event.
Yeah.
I'm going to let you pick up the canon event, Kahim, because it's the crux of how they consider Miles to be a villain.
Yeah.
Our Miles, not Earth 42 Miles, our Miles.
So in the canon event, right, every Spider-Man has to go through a specific loss. It's not like, because Miles lost his uncle, you know what I'm saying? But that's not the specific loss that every Spider-Man needs to actually become, I guess, the best part of themselves. So they go through this canon event where the villain kills the captain or the person that means the most to the Spider-Man in that universe. So the Spot essentially has to go back to Earth 1610, causing a crazy event, and actually kills his father, the captain, Captain Jefferson Davis, right? And
But he isn't the captain yet, right?
He wasn't the captain yet, right? He was going to be promoted to captain in a few days. That's what the whole party was about, that Miles ended up missing. He had the cake, that he was trying to get back to the whole party, whatever, because he was supposed to become captain, which was crazy, right? So as this whole thing is going on with the captain, Gwen comes back. And the only reason she comes back wasn't even for Miles, right? It was to catch the Spot, because he was going in and out of different universes trying to build up his power set, right? So Miles thinking that Gwen came back to see him and all of this stuff, which was so cold, bro. He in love with Gwen.
They were villains too. All of his friends betrayed him.
My friends, man. Friends.
Man. And then when he finds out, that was, boy, he was hurt.
Man, he was hurt, bro. He was hurt. And he finds out during this whole thing with Miguel, Spider-Man 99, actually breaking down the whole canon universe type of situation, right? He has to actually let this happen. He has to let the Spot cause this event, kill his father, and him just supposed to fail and actually rescuing and saving his father's life. And at that point, Miles is like, "You want me to just let my father die, knowing that I know he's about to die?" And it was like, "Yeah, you have to do it. Basically, you have to let your father die." Miles was like, "No, that's not gonna happen, bro. Nobody in this universe is gonna stop me from saving my father." So that whole sequence, bro, with him running away from all of those Spider-Man, that's probably the coldest animation I've seen. I can't think of another one, bro. And I'm really trying. I was trying hard. That was probably the coldest animation scene that I've seen in my life, bro. I may be exaggerating, but it was just that fire, man. Because the motivation for it all, and you got the old Peter Parker that came back. He was happy to see him. He thought he was his friend, bro. He thought it was like a whole thing. He was excited to get to this universe, to be with all of these Spider-Men, Spider-Woman, the Spider Dinosaur, Spider Pig, Spider, all these, it was just amazing. He was happy to see it. The Punk Spider, oh man, it was great for him. You could see it, they did a great job with that animation, man, that emotion, that excitement, him getting live when he walked through and saw all of them people, man. And I'm getting off base. I'm sorry. But to get back to the point, Miguel breaks down, you have to let this event happen to where the Spot actually causes this event and kills your father because it makes you a better Spider-Man, basically. And Miles like, I don't care about none of that, bro. So he fights his way to this machine that actually was supposed to transport him back to Earth 1610. But because he got bit, Spider 42 is, like you said, sends him to Earth 42, where the Spider came from, that turned that Miles Morales to the Prowler, right? And then it was crazy because when he saw Aaron, his Uncle Aaron, he was hyped. He was like, "Man, Uncle Aaron, you're alive. I ain't seen you die." Well, so pause real quick. In Earth 42, his father died. Miles' father died, right?
Correct.
So this is a weird question, but Uncle Aaron was staying with his mom. Or
correct.
Was he just there? Was Uncle Aaron and his mom together, or was he just there?
Great question. I think that he was just coming to visit because you had Miles was at home, and then the mom was there because they were talking, and then his uncle comes in, and I think he gave his mom some money or something like that.
Okay, so he just
and then
looked out for her.
yeah, but I had that thought. I was like, well, I had come to the realization, okay, we are not in the right place.
Right.
And I almost, in my mind, was like, oh my gosh, I think his dad is dead because Aaron is alive. His dad is dead in this world.
Yeah.
And then they do the reveal, of the mural of the father, where in his Earth 1610, they had the mural of the uncle.
Uncle Aaron. Man, so I thought it was weird when Gwen came back to the room and he wasn't in there.
Exactly.
Like, what is going on? Like something is not quite right. Like, and yeah, that whole part was just crazy as well, man. And then it sets on Miles like something is wrong. I'm not in the right place. It's too late. He get knocked out, right? By the and when he got knocked out, I thought it was by like another like villain or something, right? But then he opens his eyes and he's like, you don't have to be the Prowler. He's chained up, which was it wasn't a foreshadow, but it was kind of like a reflection of how Miles met the original Peter into the Spider-Verse. Because when he met him, he chained him up to the bag and was asking him all these questions about how did Peter get there. If you remember what I'm talking about, like it was like the first when he met the old Peter that actually became his mentor, chained him onto the bag to ask him all these questions. So it's kind of like a reflection of what was going on, how he entered the Spider-Verse or whatever. But that whole sequence was crazy, and we didn't even get to the whole part when he has to stop the spot.
And you know why we didn't get to it? Because after 2 hours and 20 minutes of wonderful writing and excellent voice acting and great animation, there was a freaking cliffhanger to be continued on the screen, and I could have torn the screen down. I was mad.
I know Josh cursing right now. I know you cursing. I was losing it, bro. I was like, are you kidding me? Like, you really gonna stop it right here? Like, it's just starting to get to the movie. Like, oh man.
With no payoff, like no questions answered. We're in the middle, like, okay, we know that the spot has already manifested on Earth 1610, where he's going to do whatever he's going to do that ends up killing Miles' father. We don't get to see that. We don't get to see the final battle. Right now, Miles is tied up in chains by himself, being accosted by himself from Earth 42, who is a villain on Earth 42 because they have no Spider-Man. Oh man,
I knew you was cursing, man, because I was losing it in there. I was like, y'all cannot be serious, bro. Like, y'all cannot end this movie like this. I was staying till the credits was going. like something else is coming, bro, and nothing came. I was like,
not even a post-credit scene. So
nothing, bro.
Nothing.
But I was like, man,
no answers.
That was a tearing part for me, bro. I'm like, y'all, the way they ended the movie, it was great, but I was so upset, bro. I was like, y'all gotta give me something, bro. Like, y'all can't leave.
But you know what? And that's why I said, after 2 hours, after the writing, the animation, the voice acting, I was on the edge of my seat because you don't know what's going to happen at this point. He has fought literally 1,000 plus other Spider-Men in, the multiverse to get home. He gets into the go home machine, and thinking he's going to be able to be sent back home. They try to stop him. They're unable to stop him, and he sent himself to the wrong place. And his father's in peril. His family's in peril. All of this is left in the air. What we do now, one thing we do find out, there's a disturbance in the force because the people that were supposed to be his friends who betrayed him Now we do get a little bit of an answer. They give us a hint that they're going to turn against Miguel, Spider Miguel from Spider-Man 99. Now he's the vampire Spider-Man, right? Yeah. So we get a hint that they are going to do a separate team up to try to save Miles and go against essentially the leader, the de facto leader of the Spider-Verse. And they'll be going against him and Spider-Woman.
Yeah.
And kudos, her animation is great. You know, she's got really the animation for all of the characters of colors. Those are black that are Puerto Rican or what have you. They just did a great job of making sure that they still felt true to life. So I have to give them kudos there. I hate that it ended on a cliffhanger. But on the issue of the animation, let me say this. I'm also a little torn. I was very impressed with the animation that they did, but I wanted your opinion on this.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell that they were using the animation to convey emotion, okay? But they were also, I guess they were using it to shift focus. Because, like, let me give you an example. Some of the scenes when Spider-Gwen went back, first of all, you know, because she helped Peter, Spider-Miguel sent her back. He put her in the go-home machine, sent her back to her home where she did not want to be because her father is, you know, looking for her as a murderer of Peter Parker because he don't know who she is. But when she comes back and reveals who she is to him, in that scene, they're like in the kitchen or somewhere in their apartment. There are scenes where you'll see them like very clearly defined in the animation, and then they're like in the next scene, it's like washed out.
Yeah,
and you don't see that definition, and the colors shift.
Yeah,
like I was really taking notice of that because, and here's I say I'm a little torn. I don't know if it was overdone a little bit. And that's my only criticism is because there were times where I was focusing on why did the animation change right there versus what was happening in the scene. There were other scenes where when the colors changed, I could really tell it was pushing the emotion of the scene because it hit me. Like, the colors wash out, or the colors, get more vibrant. So that in the times when that happened and it was really amplifying the emotions of what, Spider-Gwen was going through or what Miles was going through, at the same time, there were times when I was kind of distracted by it. And I was like, well, I mean, y'all have shifted the background like 4 times in this scene. So it's kind of taking my attention away. So I don't know. I'm kind of ambivalent on that. I said this is one of the things about the movie that I have to kind of think about, and I want to watch it again to see, does it hit me the same way? Because I think sometimes on second watch, you get a better perspective. But I don't think that it was distracting enough to really be bad. I enjoyed the movie. It looked spectacular. They did a great job for the most part. I just had that question, and I want you to you can kind of talk more about that because that's something you are really experienced in, about how they were shifting those backgrounds.
Yeah, I know that's something they do a lot in film. They use color to convey emotion, and they did it a lot with this film. And I think I can agree that it was a little overdone in certain aspects, but I think it could have been intentional. I know one of the directors, Kemp Powers, he directed Soul for Pixar, and he used a lot of colors and a lot of vibrant stuff going on in that film. So it could be stylistic that they did that, because they did a lot with the colors and the type of like brush strokes, because some of the Spider-Man had different brush strokes and things like that. And I think they did that on purpose to kind of like push certain like just stylistic parts of it. You know what I mean? I do agree that at some points, like I said, it was kind of distracting, but I feel like it was intentional, especially with Gwen coming back home and seeing her father. That white kind of background was kind of like her and her father really like evening out. At first, it was kind of like jagged colors, like dissonance. You know what I'm saying? But as they started talking more, and they had that white washed out background, it's kind of like, okay, they kind of washed their little thing away. You know what I mean? Whatever they had, he's like really on board with her now. He
Like a
supports
clean
her.
slate.
Yeah, like a clean slate. There you go. So a lot of so a lot of it, I think they did intentionally to convey certain emotions, certain stylistic points that they wanted to make, and that's why I love animation so much, because it's kind of hard to do with film and the camera. But when you like draw it or you like do computer generated things, like you could push certain ideas, certain styles to the max, you know. But I think it is going to take a while, because I think they do just like the first one. They did it in a way to where it hasn't been done before. Like the way they make the animations look, it's like, man, I've never seen anything like this before. It's kind of like my eyes kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like I don't really know where to focus at times, but yeah, man, I think they did a great job of that. I would have to watch it again too, because certain points I was like, man, I can't really see like where to focus at. You know what I'm saying? And you know, it's kind of weird.
And you know that is exactly that was what I was trying to get at. There were times where I was struggling with focus. Like, okay, I like the Spider-Punk character. And I like his role in the movie. But the way he was designed was really, I struggled watching his character, because like the way they made him look, he looked like a moving comic book. Because he looked like how comic book coloring looks and drawing looks, but like moving. So it was very odd. Like again, I like the character and I like the role he played, because he had a significant role in helping in the turn with the traitors trying to turn back towards Miles later on in the movie. But I think the rewatch will be necessary. So I can get that focus, because now I got the main story and I can enjoy it better.
Yeah. Well,
that would be my only quibble. That would be my only issue, though, other than the cliffhanger at the end.
Yeah, you know, you talking about Spider-Punk. He was a rebel. I really like his role. He actually the one that kind of helped liberate Miles from wherever he was being held at. And I think like the cast was crazy, man. Daniel Kaluuya did a great job with that. Yeah, man, it was exciting to watch, man. What was your favorite part?
My favorite part? Ooh, that is a great question. I think the crescendo, like right before we get to the cliffhanger, to me that was we were literally in the best part of the movie, because the stakes were so high. Especially him meeting himself. And then we're seeing him about to use his powers, but we don't get to see whether it's successful or not. You know, so that part, knowing all of this is coming together, we're thinking, you know, that he has finally escaped, to come to find out that he has essentially trapped himself in the wrong world. And knowing that his father, who I love the character of his dad, man, that he might die.
Yeah, man. It's just like, man,
that's the best part right there.
Yeah, man. That was probably mine too, man. When Aaron walked in and they did that slow motion, they did that in the first one too, when he found out he was a prowler. Like it was like a slow motion type of thing. That's kind of like his signature thing. But he was like, "Oh, you took your braids out?" He was just like, "Yeah, you know, I'm trying something new." I was like, "Man, something is not right, bro. Something not right." I mean, even though you see Aaron at that point, you know something not right. But yeah, man, it's just like, what is going on, bro? Like, where is he? What is happening? And then he get knocked out by himself and he take that mask off, bro, and the Miles pop up out of there. I was just like, bro, they nailed it, bro. They nailed it, bro. And I was just like, oh, it's beautiful, bro. I might, we talked about top 5 superhero movies, man. Oh man, that I might have to replace that Spider-Man. That's Into the Spider-Verse, bro. It's just like they took this one to another level for me, man. I gotta see how it ends though. I got to, man. They did Spider-Man Beyond the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, bro, y'all killing me, man. Y'all killing me.
Leaving us with no answers, none.
Yeah, man.
Now, here's the question though: if you were gonna put it in your top 5, would you be putting the movies together, or just this movie, without knowing how it ends?
Without knowing how it ends, I don't know. I'm not gonna retract that last statement, man, because that cliffhanger was too hard for me. It was rough. It was rough. It was rough. Now that I'm thinking about it and reliving it, sitting in that seat, bro, it was just too rough, man. I was like, it was too jarring. I was like, y'all gotta give me something, bro. It was just like cut, like him rubbing his finger on the chain, him about to spark the place, bro. And it just like, nah, bro. I retract my last statement, bro. I think I'm a little too, I'm on high. I'm high from it, I think. I think I'm high from it, bro. Because it was just so much going. It was just awesome to watch, awesome to look at, the style, everything. It was awesome, bro. But yeah, man, I need to know how it ends.
Me too. But I mean, listen. If you're watching this, and we've already told a lot of details, but you still will enjoy the movie if you go see it. If you listen to this podcast, I'm telling you, go see it. You will enjoy yourself. One of the things in the movie that I think speaks to all people, because I think some people think that, animated movies are for kids. This idea that he's struggling with telling his parents that he is Spider-Man, because he loves his parents, but being Spider-Man means that you can't always be, a regular person. Your personal life ends up being a sacrifice, and that's ends up being the driving force of this idea that he has to allow the canon event to happen, is that you have to sacrifice the things that you love if you plan on being Spider-Man. So him really struggling, I mean, that's real. That's stuff that people go through. How do I, explain to people so that I can be fully present, in my life and in that relationship, but without hurting that person,
Right.
Because at the same time, if you tell your parents that you're Spider-Man, that puts them in danger, because now they know that you're Spider-Man. And we know how many times Aunt May has been threatened because she knew who Spider-Man was.
Or try to protect them. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
Try to step in there and be a parent,
Exactly. So once you let them in on it, you're exposing them to more heartbreak, and then them wanting to protect you. So let me say something about this canon event though, because this made me think about predetermination, like this idea that no matter what you do, this has to happen. I don't know that, man. That is. It's like an ordaining of events beforehand. I don't know, because like the way they depicted it, every single person, like they went around the room to all the spider people, and they showed down the line each one. Like some of them it was Aunt May, some of them it was the uncle, some of them it was the father who was the captain, and saying that the only way that I can save the multiverse is that I have to allow this predetermined thing to happen, a canon event.
Yeah.
Man.
It was wild.
It's like, it's the battle between that and free will.
Right. And, that's what he was fighting against, really, because this whole thing, like even like what he said, like everybody keep trying to tell me how my life should go. I don't want to do that. I'm gonna do my own thing. Like that's powerful, bro. Like because us as humans, you touched on it a while back. Like we have God complexes, right? We have this thing like we can really control life like that. Like whatever we want, we can make that happen. And then you have this other side. It's like life happens to you. You know what I'm saying? And it also happens for you. You know what I'm saying? Like all this stuff is like that's heavy stuff, bro. Like, and I understand like what you're talking about. Like a lot of people watch cartoons and they feel like it's for kids. You know what I mean? But if you really peel back the layers of like this, just a style of conveying a story, bro. It's not like a thing. It's like, oh, I'm gonna make this story for kids. Because if you watch even cartoons, like they have moral points in there that's heavy stuff, bro. The Lion King, Aladdin. Oh, I could go on and on. So it's not really. It's just a tool to tell a bigger story, and that's why I love. Like this movie was just is talking about life and the existence of, you know what I mean. So yeah, bro. I could go on a little bit longer, but I'm not. I'm not, bro.
The point is, it was a great movie. We both enjoyed it. And it's worth your money to see. You won't regret it. It's gonna be a cliffhanger. If you go in with that understanding, you'll be okay. I'm hoping that they don't take a long time. They better be coming in 1 year or less.
Yeah, definitely.
With the next installment, because they left literally everything in the air. There is no answer.
No.
Yeah,
we don't know.
We don't even know how strong the Spot actually is going to be in the end.
Right. Or what's going to happen with Miles and Miles? Like, is he going to end up helping him at all? Like, what? Bro, all of this stuff. There's too many unanswered questions.
But it's a sign of a good movie.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. You're right.
I'm already over here talking about take my money. I'll buy a ticket for the next movie today.
Pre-order.
Right? Pre-order.
Yeah, man. $100 million budget, man. They use that really well, man.
Only 100?
100 million.
That seems low. That's good.
Yeah. And they're gonna kill it in the box office. I already know.
Oh yeah.
So yeah, man, what would you give this film?
Whew, man. I'm gonna give it a 9. I really enjoyed it.
Okay.
I'm gonna give it a 9.
Okay. I feel like you're being a little
what you saying?
I feel like you're being a little generous today.
Okay, well, I've only seen it one time.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe I'll revise my rating, but for a movie to evoke everything that it got from me, I have to give it a 9. The stuff that I had issues with is not so big that it would take me below a 9. So I'm going to give it a 9 for right now. Now the ending, if they mess up the ending, I'm going to re-rate it.
Yeah. Okay. I'm with you then. I'm with you. You brought me back, bro, because I was a little. That ending that tore me up, bro. But okay, I'll say I'm with you. I agree. I'll say a 9. I'll say a 9. Yeah, let's go.
Yes, sir.
Right.
The Cinema Goodness Podcast Rewatch of the Week.
So man, our rewatch of the week, man. Remember the Titans, starring Denzel Washington. We got Wood Harris. We got crazy cast. That was like some of the people, like some of their first films that I remember seeing them in, man. Ryan Gosling, Hayden Panettiere, she was real young in that movie. Will Patton. Yeah, man, all of them people, man. Like that film is moving, man. Like I used to, when I was in my football days, man, like this was like one of my top films. Remember the Titans, just Coach Boone talking about teamwork and family and doing it at a time where race was a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like Well, I mean, it still is, but it wasn't as bad as it's not as bad as it is. You know what I mean? Back then, bro, it was just like they couldn't even really play football together. You know what I'm saying? Like it was. He came like and disrupted. Coach Boone came and disrupted the whole thing, bro. It's like everybody had their favorite players. They thought they was gonna win the series, and then you got somebody that's fighting against race and he can't lose a game all season. Like, come on, bro. Yeah, that whole thing, and they did the whole Malcolm X thing where they tried to burn down his house or throw rocks in his house or something like that.
Yeah, they threw a brick through his window.
Yeah. Yo, he had the brick. He said, tell a nigga call me anytime or come by anytime, something like that, bro. I was like, man, it's just a great film because it teaches you about perseverance, bro, never giving up, and how friendships can come in the most unexpected places, bro, because them two linebackers, man,
that became friends?
Yeah. Will Harris and Julius Campbell and
Jerry. Wood Harris is playing Julius Campbell.
Yeah, Bertier.
Ryan Hurst playing Jerry or Gary Bertier. Yeah,
man. I just like the story, man. That's kind of like one of them films where you can rewatch it, man, and always pick up little tidbits, man. My favorite part was when they was at camp and he told homeboy to run. He was like, how many yards in the mile? You know what I'm saying? How many yards in the mile? You know, and you made him run. Like, yo, man, it was a lot of great scenes in that movie. You know, anything about like football, it just teaches you about, you know, persevering and overcoming, you know. And I love that. I love that type of stuff, man. It's a great film.
You know, I this one I rewatched it. Truly, I did. In preparation to talk about it today. And I feel like I keep drawing these parallels between what people were going through when this happened. Like when the movie opened, it said this was in 1981. I was born in 1981. Okay. So seeing these people going through this struggle because of race and because of people's biases, and then making the connection today to some of the things that we still see people struggling with amongst the races of people, it can be a little bit discouraging because you would think that we were further along. And when they get to the scene at Gettysburg, when he woke them up at like 3 a.m. to run through the woods. And they ended up at Gettysburg, and he talked about how 55,000 men died there and what they were fighting for. And he's saying, you know, because this is based on a true story, by the way, what we're going through right now is what they were fighting about. Right. So it really made the connection when he said that. He's saying at Gettysburg, this is what they were fighting for. We're still fighting for it today in this time setting of 1981. And here we are in 2023, and we're still fighting.
Yeah.
So that part of the movie really spoke to me because it shows us where we still have some struggles that we're going through as far as how people treat each other, how people see each other. Like the example, you know, they were able to break through the barriers while they were in the bubble of the camp.
Right. Yeah.
But when they go back to the school,
bro, man.
It's like they're having an out-of-body experience now because we all bonded. Now we're back in school and everybody hates each other.
Yeah.
They don't want us to hang out with them. Well, I mean, we've been playing football. We have bonded. And now all these exterior pressures, parents, the boy's girlfriend, you're gonna go hang out with them. You know, it's a great movie. Yeah. But I mean, talking about it, speaking to the human condition and how we see each other and treat each other is the part that kind of gets me, kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, that's a powerful point, man. It's like, and that's one of the reasons, like, I love the movie so much because it's like, it's all social influence. You know what I'm saying? It's like you said, they was at camp. It took them a while to get to that point to where they could come together as a team, but it didn't take nothing for them to come back and be around all of these peers and this external pressure and kind of revert back to how they was before they even got there, man. It's just like, and then Coach Boone had to get them back on the ball, bro. It's like, really remember what we playing for as a team, bro. And that's a powerful point in the movie, man. It's really, man, yeah, it's probably one of my favorite movies, man. That I just rewatch. When it comes on, I rewatch it. I haven't seen it come on TV in a while, but when it do come on, I watch it, man. It's a great film. And yeah, they balled, bro. They was cold, man. It was a great team. And then, you know, Bertier ended up getting paralyzed, and you know that just speaks to like how life moves, bro. It's just crazy. Like, you think your life is going one way, and it's talking about, I'm going back to Spider-Man too. You think it's supposed to go this way, but then this event happens and it takes your life a whole nother way. And yeah, man, it's powerful. So yeah, remember the Titans, man. It's a powerful movie. And it's very entertaining. They play, you know, good football too. So if you enjoy football, that's something, you know, you can watch. But yeah, man.
Hayden, let me tell you, Hayden Panettiere is hilarious in this movie.
She was.
Now I'm thinking, if I'm not mistaken, her mom has died, or the mom is not there, so she is always around her dad.
Yeah.
To the point where she's calling him coach, not dad. He's calling her coach. And I mean, it's so funny. And some of the funniest parts of the movie was when they were trying to get Denzel's daughter to go hang out with her. And she was like the most prissy girly girl.
Yeah.
And Denzel's daughter is, you know, the funniest thing, they're coming over for a play date. Hayden Panettiere throws a basketball at her, and the girl goes, like, I just had my nails done. It's so funny. It is so funny. It's hilarious. Very quotable, very quotable. So this is a great rewatch. If you haven't seen it, it's on Disney Plus. You got Disney Plus? Watch it. It's on your subscription.
Awesome, man. It's another good one, man. I feel like I started off a little rough. But yeah, I came around towards the end, man. Yeah, man, it's another good one, man. I hope y'all enjoying these episodes, man, because I'm enjoying these conversations, man.
Me too. Me too. So it gets you thinking. Get you thinking.
Yeah, man. So if you're into the podcast thing, man, please look us up, Cinema Goodness Podcast, on all platforms. Man, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Apple, right? You know, and all of that stuff.
Correct. See y'all next time in the next episode. You want to be looking forward to, we're going to be reviewing Transformers. We have some new segments coming your way, so we want y'all to stay tuned in. We have been in the lab kind of tinkering. We're going to be adding some things to the podcast, so we have some new segments coming up as well. Hope y'all enjoy, and please, you know, continue to support.
Yeah, man. Like, share, subscribe, man. Let us know what y'all watching. Put it down in the comments. We'll be sure to check it out, man. Until next time, you have a light that is out of this world. Let it shine to be the richness that this world deserves. Much love, family. Being rich.
Peace.